Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something right now. If you're going to walk into the calling God has placed on your life, if you're going to rise above the noise, the distractions, the critics, and the chaos, you're going to have to learn how to stay unbothered and stay focused. Let me tell you something. If the devil can't defeat you, he'll distract you. If he can't take your crown, he'll try to cloud your mind. The enemy knows he can't cancel what God has ordained. So what does he do? He sends diversions, delays, and detours to get your focus off your purpose. Because distraction is subtle, it doesn't always come wrapped in evil. It comes wrapped in what looks urgent, what looks necessary, what feels emotional. But hear me, not every fire is yours to put out. Not every call deserves your answer. Not every battle is yours to fight. Some of you are exhausted, not because you're not strong, not because you don't have the anointing, but because you've been trying to carry weights you were never meant to carry. You're giving your attention to things that don't feed your vision, don't fuel your faith, and don't fit your future. The greatest threat to your destiny is not always the attackets, the distraction, because distraction is a slow thief. It doesn't take it all at once. It steals your peace today, your focus tomorrow, your confidence next week, until you wake up one day wondering why you're stuck in the same cycle. You were not built to be reactionary. You were created to be intentional. You don't have to respond to every whisper, every hater, every misunderstanding. That's not your assignment. Your job is to keep your eyes on the prize, your feet on the path, and your spirit anchored in truth. And I know, distraction sometimes wears the face of opportunity. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's God. Just because they called you doesn't mean they're part of your calling. You've got to have the discernment to say, this isn't worth my attention. This doesn't deserve my energy. Let me talk to the one who feels pulled in every direction. You're answering calls that don't align with your calling. You're stuck in cycles that feel comfortable but lead nowhere. That's how distraction works. It keeps you busy but barren. You're running in circles, but you're not moving forward. And you're wondering why your spirit feels tired, why your vision feels blurred, why your passion feels faint. It's because you've been feeding your distractions and starving your purpose. But not anymore. You've got to learn the power of no, the power of silence, the power of focus. You've got to say, I'm not giving my energy to arguments that don't build. I'm not giving my time to relationships that don't grow. I'm not giving my vision to anything that doesn't align with God's voice in my life. You are too chosen, too called, too gifted to let distractions D. For your destiny, stay grounded, stay focused, stay aligned, because when you starve your distractions, you feed your future. When you say no to the noise, you say yes to the next level. And baby, your next level is waiting. Everybody's got something to say, but you don't have to answer every voice. You don't have to chase every opinion. You don't have to prove yourself to people who were never assigned to understand your journey. Let them talk, let them whisper, let them roll their eyes and doubt you. That's not your business. What they say about you behind your back is not stronger than what God spoke over your life before you were born. You were chosen before you were criticized. You were anointed before they even knew your name. And let me tell you, if you keep stopping to explain yourself every time somebody misunderstands you, you'll never make it to your destination. There is a cost to distraction, and one of the biggest distractions in life is the need for approval. We spend too much time trying to manage perceptions, trying to make people like us, trying to get people to see our heart, when the truth is, they're not supposed to. They don't have the capacity to carry your calling, so of course they won't comprehend your commitment. But listen, you don't need their applause to keep moving. You don't need their agreement to stay anointed. You don't need their understanding to obey God. Sometimes silence is your best response. Sometimes elevation looks like ignoring it. You've got to know the power of peace. You've got to know how to walk away without explaining yourself, how to smile without defending your motives, how to love without needing to be liked. When Jesus stood before his accusers, he didn't say a word. He could have called down angels, he could have laid out the truth, but he knew something deeper ***. Purpose doesn't argue with pettiness ***. Vision doesn't waste time validating itself to the blind. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you no matter what you say. So why waste your breath? The truth is, you're not here to be popular. You're here to be purposeful. You're not called to fit in. You're chosen to stand out. And with every step of obedience, you're going to irritate those who are comfortable in compromise. You're going to agitate the insecure. You're going to confuse the complacent. But that's okay. You were not made to be understood by everybody. You were made to be obedient to God. So let the critics do their job, and you do yours. Let them analyze, speculate, and assume. You keep building, you keep moving, you keep showing up, because your fruit will speak louder than their words. Your future will silence every false accusation. The harvest will answer every hater. And when God exalts you in due time, they'll have no choice but to see that his hand was on you the whole time. You don't owe them a response. You owe God your focus. Stay unbothered. Stay obedient. And watch how God handles what you chose to rise above. Let me speak to your spirit for a moment, because some of you are tired, not from the climb, but from the clutter. You're not burned out because of the journey. You're burned out because of what you're carrying that has nothing to do with where you're going. Your energy is precious. Your time is sacred. But you've been giving both away to people, places, and problems that don't deserve access to your spirit. You've got to learn the art of protection. Protecting your peace, your focus, your purpose. You cannot keep spending your energy on things that don't produce fruit. You're answering calls you should have blocked. You're entertaining conversations that leave you drained. You're saying yes when your spirit is crying out for rest. And the truth is, every time you say yes to something that is beneath your calling, you say no to something that could grow your calling. Your time is a currency. Your energy is an investment. You don't just give it to anyone. You don't just pour it anywhere. You sow it where it multiplies, not where it dies. Some of you are busy, but you're not productive. You're constantly moving, but nothing's shifting. That's because activity without alignment leads to exhaustion. Just because you're doing a lot doesn't mean you're doing what matters. You need to start asking yourself, does this serve my purpose? Does this push me toward my destiny? Does this honor the calling on my life? If the answer is no, then why are you giving it your yes? Let me say it plain. You can't build your future and babysit other people's dysfunction at the same time. You can't soar with vision while you're tangled in distractions. You've got to make some bold decisions. You've got to learn to say, I love you, but I can't let you drain me. I care about you, but I can't carry you in my calling too. That's not selfish, that's stewardship. You are a steward of your strength. A steward of your time, a steward of your emotional energy. Don't pour that oil on soil that can't hold it. Every minute you spend worrying about something you can't control is a minute you could be praying, building, healing, or resting. Every moment you waste arguing over opinions that don't matter is a moment you could be investing in your assignment. And you wonder why you're worn out, anxious, unfocused. It's because you've been feeding distractions that starve your purpose. But not anymore. It's time to reclaim your peace, reclaim your power, reclaim your focus. Every time you withdraw your energy from foolishness, you make a deposit into your destiny. Every time you protect your time from chaos, you give God more room to work in your life. And I promise you, when you stop watering weeds, your garden will start to grow. So choose wisely, guard your energy like gold, manage your time like treasure, and watch your life transform. There comes a moment when feelings have to step aside and faith has to rise up. Because if you live your life based on how you feel, you'll never fulfill what you were born to do. Feelings will fool you, emotions will lie to you. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. But your calling is constant. Your purpose is not built on how you feel. Your purpose is built on what you were formed for before you ever took your first breath. Some days you will feel strong, confident, clear. And other days you'll wake up confused, tired, broken, wondering if you've got anything left. But let me remind you, your calling doesn't change just because your mood does. You can be chosen and still feel unqualified. You can be called and still feel overwhelmed. That's why obedience has to outweigh emotion. That's why discipline has to carry you when inspiration won't show up. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel supported. Stop waiting to feel perfect. Do it anyway. Show up anyway. Preach anyway. Build anyway. Serve anyway. Because sometimes the anointing doesn't show up until you step out. Sometimes clarity doesn't come until you commit. Sometimes strength doesn't appear until you start moving. You keep waiting for motivation, but God is looking for motion. Feelings are not your fuel, ***, faith is. ***, and faith says, I don't see it yet, but I'm still going. Faith says, I don't feel it today, but I'm still chosen. Faith says, even when I'm weak, He is strong. And that's the power of walking in purpose. You don't need to feel perfect to be used. You just need to be available. You just need to be willing. You just need to be obedient. Do you think David always felt like fighting? Do you think Moses always felt like leading? Do you think Esther felt ready to risk it all? No. They were human just like you, but they didn't let feelings become the final word. They moved with purpose, and because they moved, God moved with them. Don't let temporary emotions lead you to permanent regrets. Don't forfeit your future over a feeling that's going to pass. Purpose requires persistence. Destiny demands discipline. You've got to learn how to keep going when it's not exciting anymore. How to stay committed when nobody's clapping for you. How to stay planted when everything around you says quit. That's the moment when character is built. That's the moment when purpose is proven. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you know, and what you know is this. ***, you are called, you are chosen, you are anointed, and you are appointed. ***, so get up even when you don't want to. Push forward even when you're tired. Keep building even when it feels like nothing's working. Because purpose doesn't bow to your feelings. Purpose pulls you through them and on the other side of obedience. That's where the breakthrough lives. Your obedience is not just about you. Let that sink in. Your obedience is connected to somebody else's breakthrough. Somebody is waiting on the other side of your yes. Somebody is searching for the very thing God put inside of you. And every time you delay, every time you shrink back, every time you let fear make the decision instead of faith, you're not just holding up your own progress, you're holding up someone else's deliverance. This thing is bigger than your feelings. It's bigger than your doubts. It's bigger than your insecurities. You've got to understand, God trusted you with something sacred. He placed something inside of you that the world needs. There are gifts in you that are tied to divine assignments. There are people you haven't even met yet whose healing, whose hope, whose restoration is wrapped up in your obedience. And no, it won't always make sense. Obedience rarely does. God will call you to places that don't fit your plans. He'll ask you to step when you don't have the full picture. He'll whisper directions that don't match your comfort zone. But hear me, you don't have to understand it to obey it. You don't need all the details to take the first step. Faith doesn't wait for full instructions. Faith moves when God speaks. You've been asking for purpose, but purpose is activated through obedience. You've been praying for clarity, but clarity comes on the other side of movement. You want God to reveal the whole staircase, but He's asking you to take the first step. He's asking you to trust Him even when it's dark. He's asking you to keep walking even when it's quiet. Because when you move, heaven moves with you. Obedience is not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet yes in the middle of your fear. Sometimes it's the private discipline nobody sees. Sometimes it's the daily consistency when everything in you wants to quit. But make no mistake, God sees it and He rewards it. Every time you obey, even when it's hard, you are building something eternal. You are positioning yourself for divine favor. You are aligning yourself with heaven's agenda. Don't let comfort keep you disobedient. Don't let fear rob you of legacy. Your obedience is shaping your future and unlocking doors for generations after you. What you do in private today will echo in someone else's freedom tomorrow. Your yes to God is a seed, and seeds don't look like harvests, but they hold the power to become one. So keep obeying, keep trusting. Keep moving even when it doesn't make sense, because one act of obedience can shift everything. One step in faith can break generational cycles. One yes can birth a new season. This is not just about you. This is kingdom work. This is legacy work. And when you obey, you set miracles in motion. Your obedience is someone's answer. So don't hold back. Say yes. And watch what God does with it. God doesn't think on your level. His plans don't fit inside your logic. His ways don't follow your calendar, and His timing doesn't bend to your deadlines. You've been praying for something small while He's preparing something big. You've been asking for what's familiar, but He's orchestrating what's beyond your comprehension. And the reason you're frustrated is because you're trying to manage a supernatural process with a natural mind. But hear this, you don't have to understand it to walk in it. You don't have to figure it out to receive it. What God is doing in your life is far greater than anything your eyes can see or your ears can hear. He's been working behind the scenes. He's been aligning people, opening doors, shifting atmospheres, all for the purpose He placed on your life. Sometimes the silence is not a sign of absence, it's a sign of preparation. God is not ignoring you. He's building something so powerful, so specific, so tailor-made for your destiny that it takes time. And if He gave it to you before you were ready, it would crush you instead of bless you. So don't curse the waiting season. Don't despise the process. Don't get bitter in the hallway between promise and fulfillment. That space is where God strengthens your character to carry the weight of the blessing. You're trying to make sense of the delays, the detours, the disappointments, but none of it is wasted. He uses every tear, every setback, every closed door, every no to shape you. Because when the breakthrough comes, and it won't just be about what you receive. It will be about who you've become in the process. He's not just preparing the blessing for you. He's preparing you for the blessing. So stop limiting God to what you've seen. Stop putting boundaries around a limitless Creator. What He's about to do in your life doesn't match what you've been through. What's coming won't look like what you lost. You may have walked through fire, but you won't smell like smoke when you step into what He's promised. You may have come through the storm, but the glory that's coming will make the pain make sense. And when it shows up, when the doors fly open, when the right people show up, when the favor surrounds you, you'll realize why the wait was necessary. You'll understand why He said no to what you begged for. You'll thank Him for every delay, because the delay wasn't a denial. It was divine design. He was protecting you. He was positioning you. He was preparing you for what you couldn't even pray for properly. Stay in position, stay available, stay believing, because eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the things God has prepared for those who love Him. It's bigger than you thought. It's greater than you imagined, and it's on the way.